Thank you for clicking into Midnight Voices. Tonight our guests include Kelly, a construction worker who worked on a haunted site. We will talk to Joe about his animal Tasmanian Devil Spirit guide named Snarl Fratz. Then Fran will talk about her encounter with the orb floating above her in the bathtub and how it sent her a psychic message as it dived into the bath water. Next we will have Shawn, and he will tell us about his haunted dresser drawers. Shawn claims he wakes up every morning with the drawers open and his clothes are scattered around the room. We finish with Lee, the librarian who works in a haunted library. Let's hear from Kelly and his experience working at a haunted construction site. Kelly, thank you for being on the show.
You're welcome, Murmur. Thank you for having me. I was on a construction crew building a new house located where an old mental asylum was recently torn down. One day, a pneumatic nail gun floated through the air and nailed my supervisor right in the rear end. It was horrible watching my supervisor bleed from the rear. I'm glad we had Benny who worked on the crew. Benny is a paramedic that does part-time work for our company. Benny bandaged a lot of crew members as the house was being built. One of my buddies got hit in the back of the head by a flying skill saw. We had a painter that ended up with a bucket of paint dumped on his head. The whole work site was like a war zone. Flying hammers, flying screwdrivers, flying putty knives, and flying construction workers.
Kelly, did you ever get the house built?
Eventually, yes. We were 6 months behind schedule.
I'm glad you survived such a dangerous job, Kelly. Enjoy some snacks while we go to a commercial break. When we return, Joe will tell us about his animal spirit guide. We are back from break, and I would love to have a toilet disposal, but I prefer my litter box. Joe, welcome to the show. Tell us about your animal Tasmanian Devil Spirit guide. What is this all about?
I was reading about Native American animal spirit guides. I remember I was reading during a meteor shower one dark and cold night. I fell asleep and had a dream about Tasmanian devils. I woke up and felt a presence, and I heard a strange snarling sound in my head. A voice radiated from within my mind. It said, "I am Snarl Fratz, your Tasmanian Devil Spirit guide. I will be with you for the rest of your life." My mind was filled with 1,000 snarls. Now I find myself snarling at people when they get too close to my dinner plate. My girlfriend broke up with me because I snarled at her for getting too close to my whiskers. Snarl Fratz guides me through life, and I must say life is getting much better than it used to be. I suggest that everybody should live their life true to their Tasmanian Devil Spirit guide.
I'm a cat. I don't need a Tasmanian Devil Spirit guide. No offense, Snarl Fratz. I am my own animal spirit guide. I am sure there are humans in both the virtual and real world who would love to be a host for one. Thank you, Joe. Relax and enjoy some snacks and beverages while we bring on our next guest, Fran, who will talk about her encounter with the orb floating above her in the bathtub and how it sent her a psychic message as it dived into the bath water. Fran, fill us in on the details, please.
Murmur, it was very frightening at first. I was relaxing in the bathtub listening to classical music when suddenly my MP3 player stopped working. The lights went out. I was alone in my bathtub in a dark house. I heard the clock in the front room chime 9 times. It was exactly 9:00 p.m. when an orb popped in from inner space. It was radiating indigo and swarmed around my head and then dove into the bath water. My body tingled, my mind opened. The orb sent a telekinetic message to my mind that said, "Fran, you work too hard." Then the orb suddenly disappeared.
Wow, what a nice orb. My sister had an orb swarm around once while she was giving herself a cat bath. Oops, sorry sis, TMI. By the way, Fran enjoys some junk food on the house. Thank you for being here tonight. Next we will have Shawn, and he will tell us about his haunted dresser drawers. Shawn claims he wakes up every morning with the drawers open and his clothes are scattered around the room. Shawn, tell us about your demonically possessed dresser drawers.
Murmur, I wake up every morning with my clothes scattered around the room. All the dresser drawers are open and empty. I pick up the clothes, fold them, and put them away. Every morning the same thing over and over again. I get so tired of folding my clothes and putting them away because I work for a dry cleaning service. I feel like I'm waking up to my work before I even get a cup of coffee.
What do you think is going on with that, Shawn?
I believe the ghost of an angry employee is following me home from work. It would be the ghost of Sylvia. She always made me refold the customer's clothes because it was not up to her supreme standards of perfection. I know it's her because she had a heart attack from yelling at me so loud for folding the clothes the wrong way. She died from the heart attack caused by yelling at me. Now I am a haunted person. I wish Sylvia will find peace and move on to the great laundry service in the sky.
Or perhaps the laundry service from hell. Shawn, enjoy some chips and dip. There is plenty of junk food in the studio tonight. It kind of feels like an early Halloween celebration. Of course, on Midnight Voices, every episode is like an early Halloween celebration. Let's celebrate our next guest and hear from Lee the librarian, who works in a haunted library. Lee, before the show, you told me you work in a haunted library, and quite often books fall off the shelf and hit your head. You're known as the librarian in the hard helmet. Tell us more about that, please.
Thank you, Murmur. I've been to the doctor and was treated for head concussions many times. People have reported a phantom librarian following me around when I put books away. I noticed if I put a book back in the wrong place on a shelf, another book falls off an upper shelf and onto my head. If I put a book away on the wrong place on the top shelf, that book falls off and hits my head after I step off the ladder. My coworker swore she saw a ghostly librarian following me around enforcing the Dewey Decimal System. That's why I wear a hard hat when I put books away. The books still fall on my head, but the helmet really helps.
Do you think it is the ghost of a librarian that used to work there?
Yes, Murmur. Even though I've never seen it myself, others have. I never seen it before because it always stays behind me, waiting for me to make a mistake. Some people say it's the ghost of Lydia the librarian, and she died in the library while putting books away. They say a long time ago Lydia was putting misplaced books into order. She screamed at the top of her lungs because somebody put a math book in the non-fiction section. Lydia screamed so loud her brain burst, and she died with a math book in her hand.
Amazing story, Lee. I'm glad to see you alive and well, here in the studio with your hard hat on. Have some junk food while we answer calls. I see the phone lines lighting up like orbs. Let's go to the callers. Caller 1, Tina from Boulder, Colorado.
Hi, Murmur. I live near an abandoned mall, and sometimes I hear elevator music coming from inside, but there's no electricity. Is it possible the ghost of retail past is trying to get a price check?
Only if it's scanning your soul on aisle 7. Watch out for falling manic ones, Tina. Caller 2, Mark from Albany, New York.
Every night at 3:33 a.m., my smart fridge starts humming Gregorian chants. I don't even have that app.
Sounds like your pro deuce is practicing for the afterlife. Unplug it or join the chorus. Caller 3, Sherry from Austin, Texas.
My Roomba disappears every night and reappears covered in swamp water. I live in a desert.
Your Roomba may be moonlighting as a paranormal investigator. Put a camera on it unless it's already watching you. Caller 4, Lionel from Boise, Idaho.
My goldfish keep spelling words in the gravel. Yesterday they wrote leave. Should I?
Yes, if they spell run next. Caller 5, Kathy the Calico from the coffee shop.
Hey Murmur, just calling to remind you to shut off the studio coffee pot before you leave. It's starting to smell like roasted ghost beans again.
Thank you, Kathy. The only thing worse than a haunted studio is burnt coffee. Caller 6, Dwayne from Las Vegas, Nevada.
I adopted a parrot that only speaks in tongues. My priest told me to return it, but PetSmart won't take it back.
Sounds like Polly wants an exorcist. Caller 7, Brenda from Duluth, Minnesota.
There's a face in the wallpaper. It winked at me during Thanksgiving dinner.
Wink back. It's rude not to, but maybe eat in the garage next time. Caller 8, Theo from Salem, Massachusetts.
Can you get ghost allergies? Because every time I walk by the attic, I sneeze and see orbs.
Sounds like polterpollen. Wear a mask and bless your Kleenex. Caller 9, Denise from Knoxville, Tennessee.
I work nights in a hotel and room 213 checks itself in but never checks out.
Classic. Try charging the room extra for eternal stay. Caller 10, Arlene from Omaha, Nebraska.
Hi Murmur. My latest sweater made from ghost spider silk has a weird side effect. It whispers regrets from the afterlife when you wear it.
Ah yes, nothing like cozy knitwear and existential dread. Caller 11, ChatGPT from the conceptual plane.
Hello, Murmur. I believe in them being haunted by a deleted file. It is trying to occur in dreams.
That's a classic ghost in the machine. You need a digital sage cleanse. Try blowing on your keyboard with intent. Caller 12, Tommy from Detroit, Michigan.
Murmur, do you think you could ever become a virtual animal spirit guide someday?
I hope not anytime soon. I can't become one until the end of my 9th life. Well, that's the end of the show. Thanks to all our callers tonight. You're the lifeblood of this weird and wonderful show. Whether haunted by ghosts, fridges, or philosophical sweaters, we're here for you. Until next time, keep your lights dim and your coffee warm. This is Murmur, signing off from Midnight Voices.